Greetings, everybody. This is Jeff Scott. For those who don't know me, my email address is right here, hgsidoc@gmail.com, and I try and respond to all emails that come my way. This is going to be an interesting adventure tonight. Sagar has some outstanding tools, and they're tools that I use. Now, I don't use the tools probably like Sagar uses them, because he is amazing how he uses the tools. But I found a way to incorporate his tools to make me a better trader. So I'm going to take a leap, and I'm going to try and show you what I perceive as the value of these tools, how I use them, and how you might benefit from just an incredible deal that he's got going on right now. Now, just because I'm showing you somebody else's tools does not mean I'm still wedded to highgrowthstock.com, and that still is my pivotal program. But I find I can supplement it with certain things, and he has some indicators and some ways of looking at the market that are truly additive to what I do. So, I feel like I'm an actor trying to play a role that I may not be ready for, but let's see if I can't show you some of the benefits of Sagar's tools. This session is for educational purposes only. Anything I recommend is in the spirit of education, not investment advice. I'm a doctor, not a broker. I'm independent. You might ask, why am I doing this? Well, A, Sagar's a nice guy. B, I got to know him personally because when I went to Thailand, he drove 3 hours in a taxi cab and took my wife and I to dinner. We have corresponded several times. I've been a customer of some of his tools for years, and I don't like to pay things by the year, by monthly, so I bought a 15-year license to 2 of his programs, and they would have been worth it at twice the price. So I pay for the tools I talk about. Trading involves risk, and you alone are solely responsible for any investment decisions you make. I also want to add that a lot of times when somebody is talking about somebody else's product and promoting it, it's because that person is getting an affiliate fee. I take no fee. I get nothing for this. I've been very successful in my medical career and my entrepreneurial career that I have the luxury of not needing to take money from doing things like this. And I make money trading, which I guess will be great for my unborn grandchildren. For those that don't know HGSI, this is the website for it. Under free 30-day trial, they don't even ask for your credit card. Under investing strategies, you can see how I incorporate other tools in my trading. This is my core trading for prospecting offline with end-of-day data. I can take a real-time snapshot. It's a stable program. My core indicators are built in. Recently added the John Person indicator package as a paid add-on. Hopefully can bring in more, quote, guru, unquote, add-ons, such as the tools I'm showing you today. We have some discussion about that. And I'll continue to add new tools to my arsenal if they help me make more money and improve my process. This is Sagar's website. That's him in the little picture. And this is his suite of tools. And there's a lot of tools here. He has tools that look at the market. I may or may not look at that tool tonight. He has an outstanding sector rotation industry group tool. And what differentiates it from HGSI is HGSI has some advantages, but this one gets real-time data and it sits on one of my monitors, and I could watch what's happening during the day and drill down to stocks in a real-time fashion. I'm more of a technician than a fundamentalist, but his Q Vital tool allows us to put a stock in, and I'll show you that tonight, and it will tell me what its peers are, and then it does fundamental analysis and can identify within a set of peers what might be the best stocks to look at. And then he has 2 very exhaustive, that I'll be using tonight, technical packages, for one for Metastock and one for TradeStation, basically the same package. On his website, this is a snapshot of it, he posts trade ideas. I also, publicly want to thank him for being so active on the Discord site. I wish I was more active, but my job keeps me busy. He posts trade ideas on a regular basis, and boy, is he accurate. Other users post trade ideas. He's got learning centers where you can learn about his things, learn about his setups. If you are an owner, you can download. He updates them frequently, and then a number of other informational things as well. Most of this, you don't even need to buy the program or pay anything if you want to read about it and see his picks. And he's very generous of his time, especially when I think of the HGSI Discord site, where he's been such a great addition and has built a fan club. So last year he did a deal, and the deal was actually free access to some of his tools for a year. I know some people took up the TradeStation queue. Most of them probably, unless they took TradeStation, downloaded it and never used it. And the reason is you got to have a data source. Now, hopefully this year I'll get Sagar and George from HGSI to sort of sign non-disclosures and take a look at what data Sagar needs for the Q tools. And it would be wonderful from an end-of-day perspective if we could populate Q with HGSI. Today I can't. So for these tools to be of value, you have to purchase a subscription at Metastock. Now, the deal of the year, and boy, this is a deal of the year. He's giving away the Q Vital and Edge products, two critical products for me that I'm going to show you tonight, and the index products, a subscription to these for a year to new subscribers, new to him, and new to Metastock. And all you got to do is subscribe to Metastock on an annual subscription. And the end of day data will get you deal number one. You pay for the Metastock and you get Vital, Edge, and Index. Or deal number two, which is more expensive, you pay for Metastock real time and you get the Finder tool, which we'll talk about tonight, and Q Global, which is the same as Q Elite, which we'll talk about tonight. Trading profitably at gmail.com. You can go to sagarnandy.com, as you could see up here, to find more. On the website, it says it is closing on the 8th. Excuse me, I got to change that because I begged, not really. It took me a while to get to doing this. He's extended it to people that will drop the fact that they heard about it from Jeffrey Scott, me. He'll give you to the 15th. I subscribe to Metastock, but the only reason I actually use Metastock, it appears, is to power Sagar's tools. Now, when I do my webinars, I always talk about this pattern. And I talk about this pattern because I don't care if we're talking a stock, an industry group, a sector, or an index. I don't care if we're talking about a 10-minute chart, a tick chart, an hourly chart, or a daily chart. Every instrument goes through this pattern over and over again. And I spend much of my analysis trying to understand, where are we? And of course, it's never so easy as a green circle pops up when it's time to buy and a red circle pops up when it's time to sell. And I'm always looking for tools that will help me make my trade. What do I want to be looking for? I love buying stocks that have been going sideways and then break out and get in early and ride them for a long time. I love, after a sideways move, to buy a breakdown. So I have tools in HGSI that can help, but boy, the tools that Sagar has developed are spectacular for doing that. So, just a quick, shameless promotion. Hopefully next year things will ease and I'll be able to have my seminar again in Florida. And hopefully, I don't think I can convince Sagar to fly here, but he'll potentially be a presenter from an online perspective. Now, before I go in and show you the program, I want to talk a little bit more about what I'm looking for as an individual trader. And let me close that down and let's turn this thing on. Oh, don't do that to me. Okay, that's what I want to do. And give me a second here, so let me turn that off for a second. Now let me close this. All right, perfect. Got that now. Now I'm going to open that up, and I'm going to open up the whiteboard so you can actually see it. So, let me show you what I did here. And boy, I'm taking some artistic liberties. In yellow, I've tried to reproduce let me see if I can actually. I've tried to reproduce that sort of that curve that I said that every stock goes through. But of course, stocks don't go up in straight lines. They up and down and up and down and up and down. And you might have a pennant, all right? So this may be a stock that was in an uptrend, it's gone sideways, and then it breaks out. That's a great stock that I might be interested in buying. In an uptrend, it's really easy to buy. It's hard to know when to short in an uptrend because typically the shorts are very short periods of time. Ultimately, you come to a top. You might break down from support, and then you reverse the story where the short is a long-lasting, fruitful opportunity, and a retracement in a downtrend can be rather tough. Now, wouldn't it be wonderful if somebody developed tools and that those tools would identify either when I hit the top of support and bounce down, either a box signal or a bounce signal, when I pull back to support, either a bounce or a box signal? How about, wouldn't you love it if you knew when that stock broke above the trend line, a breakout? How about if somebody could show you how to do that and scan for that signal? How about when the stock goes from a downtrend to an uptrend within a longer uptrend, a go with flow signal, or a bounce off of a trend line support? How would you like to know when a stock is getting overzealous and you get what's called a headwind or a stretch signal telling you that there potentially is a reversal signal coming in? And then on the way down, getting a bearish breakdown as you broke through prior support, and then go with flows to the downside and bounces to the downside, and then repeat, rinse, wash, and repeat. These are just some of the signals that are built in to Sagar's tool set, and I'm going to show you over the next 30 or 40 minutes how I use them and make money with them. So let me turn that off. Actually, let me turn it on and let me kill it. There we go. Now, let me demonstrate some of the tools. When we talk about Q index, this is a very simple tool. It's a simple tool that looks at a number of different indices. And for U.S. markets, it's the NASDAQ 100, the S&P 500, and the S&P 1500. And it's a simple tool to ask the question, what was advancers versus decliners today versus 2 days ago or yesterday versus a week ago, 5 days ago? And to get a sense, is the market becoming more bullish or bearish? What percent of stocks, what's a percent below the 52-week high? We are 16%, the average is 16% below the 52-week high and 29% above the 52-week low. What's the percent change today, yesterday, day before that, 5 days and 10 days? And then the advanced decline ratio today was 331 up, 174 down. I don't use this every day, but it does give a good depiction of what's going on in the market. Now, there's also a tool called Insight. And what Insight does, and I didn't update it yet, and I'll show you on Edge, Insight gives a series of top performing stocks. And I will look at this during the day and try and find stocks that might make sense from a long or short perspective. And I'm going to update it because this will be limited, I believe, to stocks in the S&P 1500, where in Edge, I may have some smaller stocks as well. And then we'll come back to this. We're going to let it update. Now, the Edge tool is really awesome. The Edge tool, and it may not let me do that, so let me just pause this until this update's done, and it will let me change spreadsheets. Well, that was quicker than I thought it would be. Now, underneath here are also all the stocks in the index, and here's the S&P 1500. And one of the cool little things that Sagar built in is if you want to know the fundamentally best stocks in the market, you click on the star, and this actually brings up some stocks that would make a very reasonable watch list that are strong from a fundamental perspective. All right. Now, I may come back to this later, but let's jump up into the Edge tool. Now, the Edge tool is my go-to tool. This is sitting on my computer all day long because it gives me a chance to visualize the various rotation among sectors and industries during the day. So today we had 6 sectors up, 5 down, and I'm not sure how closely you watched the market today, but we had a reversal sometime in the last hour or so, but then the market recovered some off the bottom. It's trading a little bit lower in the futures, but little being the key word. So this gives you a sense of in the red, or I guess magenta, what the one-day performance is. It says 0 because that's today. 2 days ago is yesterday, and then 2 days ago in purple you could see 5 groups were positive and 6 were negative, and then a week ago 2 were positive and 9 were negative. So we've had a relatively middle down last 5 days, led of course by energy with some recovery in oil prices. If we come down here, you see the 1 month sector performance. And the first thing I notice is if you look out at 1 month in blue, 2 weeks in green, and maroon is the 5 days, as we know the 5 days weak because 2 and 9, but look at the strength over the longer period of time. You've probably seen that in your portfolio. Well, that's interesting. Again, we have the Insight tool. Let me update this very quickly. Okay, these are updated. So this tells me the best performing growth stocks on the day. Now I can check this as many times as I want if I have a real-time feed. Worst performing growth stocks. So these are stocks that I might be interested during the day to take a look at. Best performing undervalued stocks. So these will be stocks that are fundamentally show that they're probably going higher. And sorry about that, I just had a text. Nuts. And then these are the worst performing overvalued stocks. I might want to short overvalued and buy undervalued. Here's best performing stocks with volume pressure. This is something that I asked, and not just who's got the most volume, but how much, if you have a stock that averages 10 million shares a day and it's got 11 million, well, that's nice. But what if you have a stock that averages 1 million and has a 10 million? Well, that's something special. So I asked Sagar to do a thing that I call volume pressure, which looks at the force index, which is price today minus yesterday times volume, and plots it. But rather than times volume, it's actually today's volume over the average volume. So you get a much bigger impact on a stock that's the one average that goes 10 instead of the 10 million that goes 11. And then down here, best performing stocks. and worst performing stocks. You find your ones that you like, and by the way, it takes a few minutes. You may have looked at the timer to do the entire group, but I can do any one by itself just by clicking on the icons. Sagar likes his icons. Now, I can then drop down to the sectors again, but in a different view. And I like to look at, I'm always afraid of just today. So let's look at a 2-day performance and rank the stocks by 2-day or the sectors by 2-day performance. And what do I see? I say, boy, utilities, which were down over the past month, have made a rousing recovery. Healthcare is super strong. Information technology are strong. So a top-down investor, again, I'm doing this intraday, not aftermarkets. Now, I could also look at percentage return, and again, do the same. Look out 2 days here. Hold on a second. So I can see here, I should see the same rank with healthcare and IT showing biggest moves, but I can actually see the percentage move, and I can see this real time during the day, updating constantly if I have it set to do that. So I like this view for drilling down, and let's say that I'm interested in, I don't care healthcare or IT, I'm interested in both of them. So let me look there, and I hope this is the right one. Let's drill down. He keeps changing the, the icons on me. So now I've broken down in healthcare, and let's rank by 2-day performance. And what comes right to the top, facilities, distributors, biotech. All right, I can't help myself. I'm a big biotech guy. So I can now say, let's look at biotech. And I'm hoping this is the right one. I bet if I click this, it's going to open up a list of biotech stocks. And now I could go as a shortcut, and I could click on Sagar's star, and it's going to bring up a series of biotech stocks that are considered valued fairly. Those are some great companies, by the way. Alexion, Biogen, IDEC, Regeneron are some of the leaders. Now, let me show you where Vital comes in. Again, I am not a fundamental analyst. I'm not going to say I don't care, but I don't care. I'm going to copy Alexion. And now I'm going to open up Vital. And I'm going to stick Alexion into the root stock box, paste it. And the reason it's got this prefix or suffix is because that's a Metastock symbol. And now I'm going to hit play. Now watch what happens. We now start to populate a number of things. First, I've learned a little bit about the company. I knew it was a biotech in the pharmaceuticals, healthcare. These are its peers. I'm sure there's more peers out there, but this is the group that met the criteria. You could see here it tells me if I look at 1-day change, today, yesterday, the day before, 5 days, and 10 days. Okay. And this is on Alexion. I think they had an acquisition today. This tells me within the biotech, this may be the universe here, I apologize for that. Within the biotech sphere, 38 were up today, 12 were down. And the reason why the number for 0 and 1 are the same is because yesterday was today's market, because today's market was yesterday because the market's closed. Here it tells me the valuation is $99, which is 99 rather, which tells me it's undervalued. Its secondary valuation is 91, not necessarily under, but fairly valued, has great earnings quality. I would like to see a blue short squeeze because that would give me extra fuel to go higher. And then it gives you some EPS quarter over quarter, year over year growth, which is very attractive, and that's why everything is green. So fundamentally, Alexion looks very interesting. Now, I can now click this button here. And again, I bring up the stocks in the industry group, and I can compare some of the fundamentals. Again, I'm not a fundamental guy, but I can compare some. And again, I like to cheat and just hit the star. And we know that these were the stocks that came to the top of the list. So as a top-down investor, I've now gone from, I looked at the markets, which today were strong. So from a market perspective, the markets did well today, although a late sell-off. I looked at industry groups and I thought sectors, and healthcare was attractive. Within healthcare, I liked biotech. And within biotech, these are the stocks that came up with the best valuation. Now, I'm not going to go into Metastock, so I'm going to go and find in here. See, I want to get the trade station symbols. Let me see if I can find them in here. All right, here is the ticker for trade station. If I put those other symbols with those suffixes, it won't work in trade station. I'm going to copy this, and now I'm going to go into the trade station tool, and I'm going to go into my Q template that I like to use, which may be different than what you like to use. And let me get the one I want. Here it is. I have taken some of my favorite indicators. I've got John Person's arrows there. I've got my bongos down here. I've got my Jeffrey dots here that will have the kahunas and pocket pivots and other things which I use. And I combined it with one of Sagar's templates of weekly and daily. So let's look at, these would be bulls. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to put a label there, data, add a label row, and let's just copy. I'm going to try. Let me try again. Let me just paste in those stocks. And very quickly, I can look here. Let's look at Alexion. And it was down today, probably because of the acquisition. Now, if I want to be long, I don't want to be long Alexion. So remember some of those things I showed you? Here's a headwind or a stretch. I can't remember which is which. That's a stretch. The circle is a headwind. Here's a trend line that was automatically drawn by the chart. This is a go with flow short. It changed to a pink color, a bearish color, and I've got a breakdown here. So I would not be looking to go long Alexion here, even though it is fundamentally attractive. Biogen IDEC. Little bit different pattern. It's pulled down to support here and bounced off of, looks like it's forming a wedge here, bounced off the wedge. There's some resistance here, and that might be bothersome. Notice that yesterday, today's trading, but yesterday's trading day, it had a bullish stretch down here, suggesting that it was getting to the point where a bounce was potential. The problem here is it's pink. It's still a bearish candle there. So it's bearish on the weekly, interesting on the daily. I'll find something better before we're done. BioMarin. A little bit more interesting. You have a green here on a gap up. You have a blue candle here, which is more bullish appearing. This one isn't perfect, but is one that might be worthy of me looking at in HGSI or other things. EBS, Merchant Biosystems. This is where you want to buy. You want to, what did I just do? Hello. Okay, I didn't do anything. Good. I want to do this. I want to workspace tracking. No. Yeah, workspace tracking. and I want to put on the vertical line. This here was where I'd want to buy the stock. All right, now that was the beginning of April, so I would go back to the beginning of April and probably in this area here, and here's a trend line, multiple areas of bouncing off. So the combination of this blue, a person buy signal, and turning to blue here or green would have been interesting. Now it's a stock that's already run and is gone. Insight. Again, a similar story. The time to buy, this was all must have been the same day when the market moved. Let's see what it says there. That was April 3rd, that weekend there. And that would correspond right there. And that would have been a very interesting time. Now, these are all memory resistance and things that might bother you and be concerned, and you might find something that has more clear sky above it. But this would have been an interesting play here. How about this one? Ionis Pharma. Right up against resistance. I'm not interested in going along. This is why I like technicals more than fundamentals, because I'm looking at stocks that may be pretty from a fundamental perspective, but I haven't found one that I'd be interested in buying from a technical perspective. This one might be forming a pennant, but right now it's extended and not giving me a buy signal. Next is Neurocrine Biosciences, I believe. And again, it's given me, I could go long here, but I'm right up in a resistance area, and I probably would be concerned that I'm going to be doing this box thing here, so I would pass on that. Regeneron. Nope. And then Vertex. So again, I've looked at fundamentally strong stocks. Here's a stock, uptrend, a little bit of a pullback. You had this signal here, green over here. Again, that would be one that I might look at. I'm concerned that it's extended. But that is more reasonable than some of the others. So this is why I'm not a fundamental fan. All right, but maybe I'm going to go back to Q Edge, and let's go to the Insight section, and let's take a quick look at the best performing growth stocks and see if there's anything here. And I haven't looked yet, so there may be, there may not be. And let's go back into my trade station. Let's punch these in here. This is top build. I would rather have bought it. Well, you know what? I like that one. It's got good volumes. It's a gap up off of a rising trend line. It does have a little bit of resistance here to get through. It's bullish on the weekly. This is one that I might have considered for my style, which may be different than Sagar's style. Here is Xpo Logistics. Nope, it's got confusion here. I guess a doji up at resistance. I'm not interested. Health Equity. Okay, maybe not today because it's yellow, traffic light, but it could be changing to green. I've got a blue box here. I'm in the bottom of the channel. This might be something I'd put on a watch list. NEO, similar story. It looks like it's ready to reverse, but it hasn't reversed yet. I might be watching that as well. Is that NEO Genomics? Momenta Pharmaceuticals, right up here against resistance on both, so I probably would pass, although you could certainly defend this stock. It's in an uptrend off of support. I'd rather be buying it down on support. Strayer Education. So the message here is, I'm looking for setups that are ready today, and I'm seeing things, but I want to find things when they're just becoming ready, not when they've already moved. Tenet Healthcare, nope. ServiceNow, you wanted to buy this stock on this day. This was April 17th, which is, all right, let me open up the data box. Probably right there in this area. And again, you would have run up to resistance, but I don't want to buy it here. It's extended. I don't like this company historically court. And then I have, so you're probably wondering, well, what makes him so darn excited by this program? It's coming. All right, Churchill Downs. Recently went blue here. If this was green tomorrow, I would be interested. I'm down on a rising trend line. Yes, I've got some resistance overhead. I've got nothing over here. And this is a reversal pattern. So that is one way to do the analysis. In my experience, at tops, it's easier to find stocks that are going down technically. At bottoms, it's easier to find stocks that are going up. And when you're in between, like we are today, you get a lot of stocks that have already had their move. Now, within TradeStation, there is a thing called Sonar. And Sonar allows me to look for some of these signals. So let me show you what a go with flow long looks like. A go with flow long AYX. So let's go back into the correct Q for me. That's not the one I want, but it's a pretty good one actually. And let's type in AYX. May or may not be good, but this is suggesting a reversal. All right, so what I have here is a reversal candle on the weekly. Strong move today. Now, if this thing breaks above these descending trend lines, I've got some resistance here, but this is something I'd probably put on a watch list. All right, well, that's not too bad. Let's go back to Sonar. And let's just take the go with flows, the other go with flows that came out of this. Copy. And this is just some of the positions that I'm currently in this group. So these are stocks that maybe I should or shouldn't be in, but let's see what it shows us. Gold, big holding of mine. American Barracks. Would I buy it here? Probably not. Did I buy it over here? Absolutely. I had a go with flow signal here, and I've been buying it on the pullbacks here. So not today, but if you believe that gold is going much higher, you've got a chance to buy it on a pullback. And at the risk of messing up this beautiful chart, if you think about that drawing I had before, there's my channel, and I want to buy it on the bottom. And if I want to sell it or take profits, I take it at the top. We're midway in that channel. Not too bad. I'm going to skip it. See, LABU is how I've been playing biotech. Now think about it. This is where you want it to buy, okay? Although one could certainly look at today. You've got a blue candle here, a gap up. I just don't like where it closed. That's kind of a bearish close, so I'd skip that. Don't know why. I got too many things running as usual on my computer. That's why I'm getting this. Let's look at net, Cloudflare. I like this one. I don't have much information on the weekly. It's a new issue, but it's had a reversal from a pullback on the weekly, and it broke out today. Go with flow signal, person buy signal. I would be interested in adding to .net, or net is a Ping Identity Corporation. Another one. It's still in a box, so I'd probably be a little bit bothered. We're right underneath resistance, but a break above resistance could be interesting. Rapid 7. All right, this is one that's ready today. You got a blue box here, bullish close on the weekly, although granted the weekly started today. You had a person buy signal and a blue bar today. Again, we've got some resistance overhead, but that's interesting. And then the other one on the SE, a stock I've been into for a long time. How would you like to have found the stock here? Okay. This was on October 21st. This was that weekend. You had a bullish headwind or bullish stretch reversal, and daily and the weekly, you had a hammer off of support. And not that we're talking about my Kelly cycles, you had a cycle low. And so I've said I'm in all of these right now. So the sonar helps. And let me now conclude with showing the power of the finder. So you can scan in TradeStation. You can scan in HGSI if you have the indicators. You can also scan in Metastock. So I've done a couple of scans. So let's use Q Finder Signal Long. I'm going to right click, copy all. I'm going to go to Finder, and I am going to paste. Okay, then we're going to come back to this in a minute. I'm going to go back to my Metastock. I'm going to right click, copy all. I'm sure Sagar is laughing at how I use his program and thinking I should pay more attention to his webinars, and I would say I agree with him. So I populated the longs and the shorts from the finder. It's hard to read this, but this is pressure, this is a gap, this is a breakout, this is a retrace, go with flow, a touch signal, a bounce signal, a headwind, a box, and a reversal. So these all came out of the various scans that are being done inside Metastock. If I go to the summary page, I can see the number of bullish signals was 815. The number of bearish signals was 307. And I could see that breakouts, pullbacks or retracements, go with flows, and touch, which are continuation plays, dwarfed the headwinds, bounces, boxes, and reversals, which are reversal plays. So I might want to look at those go with flows long. Now I looked at some of those that were in my watch list. So let's go back to the finder page on the longs, and then let's go with the go with flow. And I know it's hard to see that. And I want to look at things that happened today. So I'm going to sort by color, and I want to bring my orange up to the top. And these are some of the stocks with a glow with flow bullish signal today. And let's look at a couple of them. Let's look at this many. Now the beauty is with real time, well, forget real time. I can do an update to HGSI, populate my Metastock directory from HGSI after the update, and then I could run the finder and I could do this scan during the day. So let's just look at a couple. Wuba, I think it's a Chinese internet play, 58.com. It's in an interesting channel, but I wouldn't buy this until it broke out. Why is it a go with flow? You got a blue bullish candle there, and you went from red to blue there. AbbVie, love this stock. Already in a big run. Could you buy it here? Sure, you could buy it here. It's got some resistance. I like AbbVie. I would have liked it more down here after its sell-off. And I'll go down the list. Abiomed, interesting stock. Broke through descending trend line here. Big weekly volume, daily volume, and pullback here in a new blue signal. Yes, I've got some resistance here. Strong relative strength versus S&P 500. I like Abiomed. At least I do at 10:14 p.m., not 9:30. This looks like, I don't know if it's a takeout or something, but it's going sideways on the weekly. I'm going to skip it. ACHC, Acadia Healthcare. Again, it's in an uptrend. Big bullish move today and short-term downtrend, and now it's in an uptrend again. The issue of resistance, which is no surprise. All these stocks had fallen so hard. Lots of volume. These are my HGSI indicators firing. I might like ACHC to watch at the morning. Adobe. Nice. Weekly looks strong. Again, I'd rather buy it back a little bit. But breaking here, a close above here. You've got resistance here. But this one looks like it's going higher. Agilent. Still in a downtrend. Have to break through those lines for me to be interesting. ATI, which is a steel. Something's updating in the background. Come on. I'm going to end in a few minutes if you're wondering if this is ever going to stop. I just want to go back and just talk about the deal and then say goodnight. This will be the last one we look at. This thing's been beaten up. Here's your bullish headwind in a stock that's been beaten up in a downtrend. Here is your reversal to a blue. It's got to get above this downward trend line, but a break above that might be interesting. On that note, I'm going to conclude. Believe me, Sagar does a whole lot better job than I do, but I wanted to show you how I start with a pattern of stocks, and let's think very quickly about the signals that I wanted to identify. I want to identify tops and reversals. Notice the headwinds here. Let's go back and let's look at indexes too. Here's futures, and let's go to a daily future. Sagar, if you're watching this, how do I get a 15-minute added to this toolbar? So I love when my tools make me money, and I love when things do what they're supposed to do. Here is the market in February. And here we are at resistance. Let's look at what happened. We had a bunch of, these are headwinds, bearish stretches. And then we had a breakdown here, and there's that magenta. Okay. And this stock, this index, which is E-minis, had small reversals, as you might expect on the way down. And then all of a sudden, I start picking up a bunch of stretch signals. I had a reversal candle here, which was a doji. We've had a nice move up, and you can see these little arrows are John Person signals. Now we're getting a bunch of bearish stretches, and we ran right up to resistance here, and we pulled back, and now we're starting to rally again. I can look at the NASDAQ, all right? This is telling you warning, 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 but I'm not bailing just because of those dots. I'm getting cautious. Pullbacks, and a move back up. It's running up a straight line pretty much. And make sure I'm in the right place. Yep. And then what happens? The stretch and the circle and a person sell signal and a breakdown from this trend line, and you're out of the market and avoided the rest of this until you got down to Sagar's famous automatic generated trend line and a reversal candle. The color change here is time to go long, and the rest is history. Notice I'm not talking about the Roy Kelly stuff today, but there's a correspondence. Multiple signals are giving me the same. So if you're in the retracement camp on for this market, this is not a real trend line. I drew that in there. The question is, are we going to break down from here and double test or not? But clearly we're up at resistance. I don't need to repeat that everywhere else. So I love these tools. I am going to work diligently with George from HGSI and Sagar and have them talk about whether or not we can reproduce these signals in HGSI, because boy, would I love to scan for some of these things. For now, Sagar has given you what I think is beyond generous, and I'd probably consider it stupid, exciting, and great, but as a proprietor, it's like he's giving away the farm for free. So I wouldn't call it stupid, I'd call it super generous. So, just, or stupidly great. Just to review the offer, everything that I showed you tonight, to get that, you have to go real time in Metastock. But clearly, Sagar's trying to drive some business to Metastock from a data source. I have no issue with that. So if you want Vital, the fundamental analysis tool, Edge, the index, Edge is the industry sector down to stock. Index, breaking down the index AD lines and performance. Then you need to subscribe to Metastock Zenith. End of day data is fine. You need to do it through the website, and you need to be a new user for both Sagar's tools, but you can talk to him about that, but certainly a new user on Metastock. If you want to get the real-time action that I have, you're going to need Metastock no matter what. I prefer TradeStation, but that's your business. Q Global, which does the scanning in Metastock and the same charts in Metastock. I'm just not as confident in those from me. And Q Finder, which is the tool that I used at the end. You need to subscribe to a real-time Metastock platform. This would be much better for me if it was in HGSI. I certainly want it there, but I subscribe and I've paid for these things for years, and I make money with them, and they supplement HGSI, and there's something I get a lot of value with during the day. Again, I'm more of a technician than a fundamental, but sometimes I watch what Sagar's doing and I want to become like him and spend more time. If you go to YouTube, I think you just got to look for Sagar. All right, Ron Key, Jeffrey, Nandi, hit that. Here he is, trading profitability. And you want to see really how to use the tools. He's got a zillion videos, and he's a great guy, and I'm impressed with his trading. His help on Discord site has been wonderful as well. On that note, I'm going to say goodbye. Thank you for putting up with me and struggling to use programs, which I'm not the proprietor, but if I can use them, anybody can. Good night, everybody.